All right. Welcome, everybody, to our LinkedIn Live post Oracle Cloud World 2024. I'm Simon Payne. I'm just back from Oracle Cloud World about 48 hours ago. It was a great event this year. And to have a quick little chat about it, I have my distinguished colleagues, Frankie Faust. Say hi, Frankie, and wave to the crowd. Um,
Hey guys.
and Nelson Calero. Say
Hello again.
so. This was a pretty great event, in my opinion. Let's just jump in and talk right about it and about what we thought of the overall event. Any surprising announcements or what we saw? For me personally, I felt that it was big. I felt that it was there's a lot of excitement and energy in the air. If we get to the actual numbers, to me it felt like the numbers were up, but some people said the numbers were maybe slightly down. But regardless, it felt like a very big, exciting event this year. What did you guys think?
Yeah, I feel the same. I have been there, I don't know, since 2014, almost all the time, and I feel as big as the previous one. So it was great. It was full of announcement. So something really interesting, I think, is the idea that this year we have seen a lot of excitement outside of Oracle just because of
Yes,
the announcement. No, in
yes.
the past it was
Yep,
just more showing to the people interested in Oracle the good and new things. Now is a bigger audience.
definitely. We'll get into that in more detail. But Frankie, what was your initial
Yeah,
thoughts or
I
overall
feel
thoughts of the event?
yeah, I feel the same. I think there were more people. The event was more packed, and I felt I was so busy there that it got me tired just by the end of each day. So I
Oh,
felt there were definitely more people, and there were more people at the booth at least. And on the first day as well, on the keynotes. On the first day, it was really first day I would say before the conference really started because the conference or the usual session starts they start on Tuesday, and on Monday that was full of people, and I
yeah,
think
I
last year
agree
was that
completely.
case.
So let's run through that in a bit more detail. So officially, the official event was 2.5 days. It was Tuesday, Wednesday, and about half of Thursday. But as you just mentioned, Monday was kind of an open day where people had meetings. There were some pre-conference training sessions, which people could sign up for. I know us, the Pythian group, were really busy meeting with people and stuff like that. So technically, while it felt big to us, I think it was smaller than it was 10 years ago or in the teens years, like 2015, 2016, 2017, those kind of years. Because if you remember back then, it used to be 4 full days, Monday through most of Thursday. And then we had the Super Sunday or user group Super Sunday as well. So this time it was really 2.5 days plus that bonus Monday. And I agree with you, Frankie. I felt wrecked, right? I was walking a long distance to get to the event from my hotel. I was walking a lot around there. So I kind of chalked it up to also me getting older. That made
Yeah,
me,
I don't know if you guys also noticed, but there were more young people there this year. That I kind of noticed. Young
A
generation
lot.
coming to the event as well.
yeah, that's good. Though generally, I do think it is a much older crowd than other similar tech events. But I thought it was big. I thought it was almost too much was happening, right? Like when I tried to look at things I wanted to attend, whether it be sessions or keynotes, there was a lot of overlap and a lot of conflicts. So things had to be sacrificed to make room. So perhaps making the Monday an official day would have helped. Yes, Nelson.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that is part of it. No, we get more interested in more topics, so we want to follow up on more things, and a lot of things happening those days. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's go into some of the material announcements that came out of it. So first of all, I think the big messaging Oracle made was this is multi-cloud. So they wanted to promote that term multi-cloud, and sure, people have used the term multi-cloud to mean that they are subscribers to more than one cloud for a long time. But now, really, what Oracle's trying to get across as their messaging is that multi-cloud really means their marquee software and services, really the sorry, not anonymous, Freudian slip there, maybe. The autonomous database service and their Exadata database services are now presented in all of the major clouds. And when I say all of the major clouds, that really means four. Well, of course, there's Oracle's own cloud and it always runs there. So there's Oracle's own cloud plus the three major other ones being Azure, Google Cloud, and the announcement, which we got, was it Monday or Tuesday? AWS as well. So
Yeah.
Right.
I want to
And I
comment on
think,
that. Okay. I want I mean, there are a lot of small details about what is available or not, but I think that the big overall important thing is that now we can run rack on any cloud because we have exadata that is available, so we can have the database without the problems of the license. And the killer feature, I think, of the database that was that for the last year. No?
yes, and an interesting thing on that. So on Larry Ellison's keynote, which I think was Tuesday, he had Matt German, the CEO of AWS, on stage, and I thought it was kind of funny because Larry was describing it as if this is the first time you can run an Oracle database in AWS. He seemed to have forgotten about Amazon's RDS, or Relational Database Service, which has had Oracle, I think, for many, many years, perhaps since the beginning of that service or close there too. And also you can run it on EC2 under Oracle's third-party cloud licensing policy. So Larry's wording gave the impression that this is brand new and the first time you can run Oracle database in AWS. And then what I found was funny is Matt's responses, he always tried to interject the word rack as well. So he was kind of almost, if you read between the lines, alluding to, well, yeah, we kind of have been able to run Oracle database, but now we can run it with rack. So I
yeah,
think your
that's
point
right.
is taken there, rack and Exadata. Yes, Frankie.
And
Yes.
from Larry's words is, they kind of, he tried to kind of, release the word like, we are open again. So we are open to run on any cloud, like we were open to run in any platform with the Oracle database in the past. Like in the past, you could run on VMS, on, AIX, Solaris, HPUX, Titanium, and all these kind of, different platforms. And now they are, I think, trying to do the same thing with with the different cloud vendors. So he even mentioned like, rebranding. I would say probably a joke, but rebranding like Oracle Open Cloud World, or something like that.
Yeah.
So it was interesting to hear that.
Yeah. I noticed that as well. So Safra explained that. She said it was used to be Oracle Open World, as we know. There was a brief period I remember Oracle Magazine cover in 2003 that it's going to be Oracle World, and they were taking the open part out. But open always seemed a little bit strange for me because it's not open source software.
All right.
That's not what it's about. But what they have always promoted, and I remember long before cloud was an issue or was an option, when Oracle was known for the fact that it ran anywhere, right? It was compiled and ran against all of the major operating systems, including Windows, Linux, but before that, the big Indian operating systems like AIX, HPUX, Solaris, VMS, and things like that. So it was known for its versatility that it could be applied anywhere. And I think Safra explained that best. And Larry tried to explain the same thing, which is really where they're going now with this big multi-cloud promotion is they feel like they lost sight of that and it became too closed, that was restricted just to their own OCI cloud if you wanted to run their high-end service offerings like autonomous database or Exadata cloud service. And now really this was the coming of age where all of a sudden we're going back to that old paradigm of Oracle's best software runs anywhere, and the anywhere really means on any of those major clouds. Nelson, you were going to say something?
Oh, well, I think we can go deeper into the which kind of services are available now. So after Amazon is also now as an option, so we can run Exadata on cloud, and we can now run autonomous databases. Some services are not there yet, no, so we can use the Oracle VMs, usually the Oracle bases that you have in OCI, but with the ones that we have available in all the clouds, I think is really powerful. You can do most of the people using those probably.
Yeah, and one of the, I think, important points from the presentations are, the multi deployment model that you have available to run your own cloud, on a dedicated region, You can run your database on AWS, on Google, or Azure. You can deploy it in your own data center, not as a dedicated region, but as a database on Exadata Cloud at Customer. And in all those offerings, they have autonomous database available, as well as the other, flavor, which is like more manual approach, like the database service at Azure. You are running on Exadata.
So the way I see this from a technical perspective and how it gives business value is you are becoming an OCI customer when you subscribe through one of these third-party clouds. You're definitely becoming an OCI subscriber, but it's almost like you're building a multi-cloud solution, but they're taking care of some of the hard work. They're taking care of that networking in between to make sure you have the sub 1 millisecond latency. You're not having to peer or make gateways between different networks and things like that. There's even some nuances about how data would travel between different regions and geographies and things like that. So I kind of see it as you are becoming an OCI customer, but almost for a special region, although maybe I shouldn't say that because you can still use other native OCI services that are not tied into these third-party cloud announcements. It's really simplifying all the infrastructure of connecting the two clouds together for you.
Yeah.
And perhaps
And
on
in the
the
end,
billing side too.
yeah, and in the end, that's good for everyone, right? It's good for the cloud provider that's not Oracle, for Oracle itself, and mainly for our customers, right? So you can you can continue to use your Oracle database that you already paid for the license, migrate that to, to the cloud that you are more familiar with, and deploy and run your applications in a proximity way with the database. So you don't lose latency and all these uh, things that you could lose from running on-premise against the cloud.
Yeah, it's something else about that is we hear a lot these days that the big winner is the customer because of that, not because you have more options. But I think is the customer here is any database user because it's not only an Oracle customer. Because in the past, if you were in Amazon trying to use a managed database, you didn't have the option to run Oracle, and now you have it. So it could be your first choice now today to deploy an Oracle database anywhere. So it's open doors. It's opening doors for the existing customer, but also for new customers, which is great.
You had, right, the RDS and EC2 options to run Oracle, but they were more they were more expensive, right?
Yeah. Sorry, I think it's an overloaded word probably. Yeah. And also the license cost and the features that you
and the rack option as well. Real application cluster is now available with this new deployment model.
But Nelson, you said the right comment, which is everybody wins. And I believe everybody does win on these announcements. But if I go into the different announcements, because all three of the third-party cloud vendors had different announcements on different days, I think Microsoft and Azure, the service went to first. They had some announcements of additional services. So we can kind of see that the first cloud out of the gate has been Microsoft Azure. We can see that they were bringing the zero data loss recovery appliance and some Exadata cloud managed services, if I'm not mistaken, into this suite of services that Oracle's exposing through the third-party cloud. So I would certainly guess that that's going to follow for Google Cloud and AWS in time. Google had the big announcement that they now went into GA. So customers can start to provision and use these services through Google right away. And also, side note, Google by far had the biggest presence at the event. They had a big area in the showroom floor, which was called the Hub. I think that's the term Oracle used last year as well. So they had a great big physical presence in floor space. They had lots of key important Googlers around. They had lots of presentations and sessions and things like that. They definitely were the cloud vendor that was there and participating and was easiest to identify and recognize the most, where Microsoft's, I think, booth area was smaller, and AWS didn't even have a booth this year. They did have that keynote participation, like I mentioned with Larry, but that was really about it. And then finally, AWS's announcement was that they are now the third public cloud that has this Oracle database at insert public cloud name provider service. So they're kind of third out of the gate, and think they said in the keynote that that was going to start with the first region coming online at the very end of this year, so December 2024.
And something to add to this is that we still need to see how the final version of the services, the consumption becomes available. Today, there are some confirmed ways to do it, but we know that there are others coming. And what I really like it when Google presented this in their session during the event was that the idea that Google has a global network, which is easy to route the data inside. It's not really
Yes.
probably the final decision, the final way from Oracle to say this is the way that it's going to be, but that means that you can consume the database from Google and then create standbys in different regions just because the Google network allows you to do that, no? Which is great.
Yeah, so you can leverage the Google backbone, I think, the networking backbone. So in one of the sessions I attended, that was actually explained to me like this. You can provision an Exadata cluster in the United States of America and USA, and you can provision a standby in Frankfurt, Germany. The replication between that primary, which is in OCI, the Exadata service still is in OCI connected to Google, and the OCI Frankfurt, the actual data would transfer through the Google backbone. So if that's interesting and appealing to you, that was cool that that's the way apparently that the bytes will flow.
Yeah, in the sense that you don't need to configure nothing to make that happen. That is the really important thing. There is no VPC net peering. There is no ports to be open. And no, I mean, only internal to the Google VPC.
Yeah. So lots of excitement about the multi-cloud. I think it is kind of going back to the old paradigm of 20 years ago of Oracle runs anywhere. And like we said, everybody wins. But let's hold that thought for a second and go into Oracle's marquee product or flagship product, which is certainly the Oracle database. I like to joke that Oracle maybe is losing sight of what is its bread and butter, what makes it the most money overall, and what was the product that made the company what it is. And that's Oracle database. So we had a lot of talk last year about Oracle 23C. This year it's rebranded to Oracle 23 AI because why not? 2024 is the year of AI, and they have added some more features to it. So side note, they're actually onto the fourth version of Oracle Database 23 already. I don't think there was a 23.1 that was available publicly. I've worked myself with 23.2, 23.3, 23.4, and now we're on to 23.5. And it's those last two versions, which were released quite closely in time to each other, which are the AI versions. So what's your thoughts, Frankie and Nelson, on 23 AI?
I think it's a great product as they released last year a bunch of the new features that were already changed at last year's Cloud World. So they introduced all the AI capability last year, and they improved that throughout the year of 2024.
Yeah.
And I think they are finally going to release it for everyone. Now it's generally available for the cloud environments, for Exadata, even on premises, and free the developers free release that they have. So that's available, I would say, for everyone. But I would say the enterprise edition is only available for Exadata or cloud. And
I would give a
go ahead.
huge plug to that free developer edition. The free developer edition is really great. And that's where I've downloaded and used all four of the versions that I mentioned a few minutes ago. Of course, it's capacity limited. So you're not going to run terabytes on there. It's limited to 12 gigs. But for people who want to experiment, try these new features, learn, and they don't want to do that via the cloud for whatever reason, maybe even accessibility. Because, for example, you could be in a long plane flight, and if you don't want to watch movies, you can experiment and play around on your laptop. The free edition is great. It's easy to install. It works great. And it's really converged since it was initially released in the 10G XE release to be almost on parity with a lot of enterprise edition features. So I would really encourage people who are interested in 23 AI and want to get started with it to explore that. Overall, I think 23 AI is a really great version of the database. There's just so many nice little usability features, whether that's in the SQL language or the SQL Plus utility. There's just so many things that are just so nice and convenient and practical to work with. It's hard to think of them off the top of your head, but little things like not needing to say from dual anymore, or features like now you can make a user read only. I coincidentally just literally this morning was asked, how can I make a user read only in a different database platform? And my reply was, unfortunately, you can't do it the same way as you can do with Oracle 23. So that's a nice little
Yes.
tidbit. Security things like
Simplified.
firewall. Yes,
Yeah,
Frankie.
go ahead, Simon.
No, no,
No,
no, go ahead.
I was just going to add the group by alias that you can define in or 1, 2, 3 or things like
Yeah.
that make writing SQL very easy.
Uh,
Multi-value inserts. So you can insert multiple
yeah.
rows in one statement. Just awesome.
Yeah.
I think we have seen like at least 2 or 3 sessions during here the conference about the new features. I remember that last year everybody was started to talk about those little features, now JSON duality views and this on rack, high availability, all the improvements in application continuity. But at the end, I think the AI that wins here is just because of the vector search that is embedded, and now you can use it for other services. And
Well,
around that, we are seeing now, it's just to round up, we are seeing a lot of other new services appearing with the AI integrated with the database. I think this is enabling. The database with the vector search is enabling a lot of new native services that are with this AI, I know,
yeah.
movement.
So AI with vector search is one thing. There's a second one I'll get to in a minute. There was a new announcement that I just learned last week at Cloud World. So vector search, I think, became available in the third release of 23, which is when they pivoted the name from 23C to 23 AI, and that was earlier this year. And the vector search works great. And of course, Oracle's pushing the paradigm or thought of you bring the model into your database versus sending your data out into some specialty vector search database or other service, right? So they're pushing that, and probably there's a strong argument for that in different use cases. So vector search is clearly one part, but the other major part of the AI story in the database is Select AI. And for people who aren't familiar with what that product is, Select AI allows you to actually type those words, select space AI space, and then give a natural language prompt, which it automatically uses AI to translate into a SQL statement behind the scenes. So you can type select AI, tell me the most popular movie, top 10 most popular movies by year, grouped by every year since 1970 or something. So that natural language interaction and select AI was previously only available on the autonomous database service, right? It's part of the DBMS Cloud API. So one of the new things that I found out last week is that it should be coming to all other versions of 23 AI database shortly, which is great. So if you have anything non-autonomous and you're interested in natural language search, soon it'll be available.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the most breakthrough
Sorry.
features in the
I said
20.
search. Sorry, Frankie. I said natural
Uh,
language search. I meant to say natural language querying of your database. Sorry, Frankie. Continue.
no, no worries. So I was saying that I think this is the most breakthrough feature in the Oracle 23 AI because it allows you to use the data that you already have inside your Oracle database and leverage that to perform any natural language search in the data that you have, so that can accelerate the business and all the data output that you can extract from this database without the need to move that data somewhere else. And I
Yeah.
think that's where they have been playing and evangelizing the convergent database approach. So you run and you extract the data from the existing database that you already have without the need to, ETL stuff out or replicate things to another database just to do things that you can do already in place in your very own Oracle database.
And that's exactly the word I was thinking of too, converged. Oracle likes to use the word converged or the hyphenated word multimodal too, meaning that Oracle database is your database that can handle all sorts of data types and all sorts of data that you might want to put in there. And yeah, definitely their point is that converged database means bring the model into the database, not the other way around, where you've already been securing, protecting, backing up that data, and really being the custodians of that database for all these years.
And another cool feature similar or becomes available after that is something I also learned last week is the select AI synthetic data generation. So I remember I have done that in the past several times. Now it seems to be really simple. I am keen to start using this new feature now to see how easy it should be done the same now.
Yeah, so I think all of the pieces are coming together now. So we have AI technology in the database with vector search and select AI. We have 23 AI as the latest and greatest overall version of the database, and it is very, very nice. I was very surprised and disappointed that there wasn't a release for general availability for non-engineered systems on premises, meaning that just download it and install it yourself. So far, as Frankie, you pointed out a few minutes ago, it is available in the cloud, it is available for Exadata, and it is available in the free editions, but that's it. So I was kind of surprised we didn't hear that last week. It would have been nice to have had an ARM version as well, maybe an ARM version of the free edition for those
Yep.
of us who want to experiment on a Mac Silicon computer and things like that. But my point is, it's all coming together, and now we have Oracle's autonomous service, which they clearly want to promote, saying it's a more secure and well managed environment, and their Exadata services, which is the most powerful thing available. So if your data that you want to perform all these AI searches and things against is large, you can now run it on Oracle's biggest, largest, and most performant environments, regardless of which cloud you want to buy services through. So I think it's all really great. We're just seeing everything come together. So any other final thoughts? Let's go ahead, Nelson, first from last week.
Well, I am a bit impressed by the amount of announcement or cool things that, as you already mentioned, we missed it a lot during the conference because there was a lot of overlapping great
Yeah.
content at the same time. So we had to decide and choose, and then we come back home and we had to start reading everything that we missed just because we had so few hours in the day to catch up with everything. No, but some of the things that I saw after coming is the new AI software cluster announced for next year. So the biggest computer available the biggest cluster available in the cloud using NVIDIA CPUs with more than 100,000 CPUs. So it
Wow.
seems, I don't know, crazy things for people who is really interested in training AI model. And the other is, well, around the developing using AI, the new GenDev, generative development, centric application development. So there's a big thing coming. It's already there. It's just the union of the tools that we use to develop and taking advantage of the features in database. So I think we are just starting to see all these new cool things announcement, but there were so many that it will take us some time to catch up with all of them.
Frankie, any final thoughts?
I think back to the cloud models and the cloud integrations between the cloud vendors running Oracle database. I think we are still one step behind on scale, I would say. If you want to run your Oracle database at Google, you have two options. You have to go either with a dedicated Exadata at Google, which might be expensive to start with, depending on the environment, depending how you want to start, or the autonomous database that imposes some limitations as any managed service database available, like RDS. You have limitations as well, and BigQuery and Cloud SQL, they have their own limitations. Otherwise, it would not be managed, right? So with Oracle, it's the same with Oracle Autonomous Database. So you can start small with Autonomous Database and you can grow from there, but you have the Autonomous Database limitations. What I think it's coming up next is the exascale deployment that they will make available throughout all the three cloud vendors as well. So exascale allows you to run um, um, small VM environment, virtualized environment, starting with 2 cores and 300 gigabytes of storage, extracting the power of Exadata in in the cloud or even on premises. If you want to run with Exascale on premises, you can run nowadays. But later on, I'm pretty sure they're gonna make that available to the cloud vendors as well. I heard that from some product managers during the conference. So I'm pretty sure they are already testing that and they will make this available. And that will be breakthrough to everyone because you can start really small and grow from there. Grow from there with database service itself, not necessarily autonomous database. So
And that'll be
remove
great.
a bunch of the limitations and can start small from there.
Yep. That'll be great to see that next year. By the way, the event is in Las Vegas again in October next year. So it's about 13 months away. I'm sure we will see that and a whole bunch more then. And one side note, one part of the announcement that maybe flew under the radar for a lot of people is that you can run Oracle database on normal compute infrastructure in Google Cloud now. So that does give you an option if, like you were saying, Frankie, autonomous is too limited and Exadata
Right.
is too big. You now can bring your own license and legitimately run Oracle database software on Google Compute Engine, which is their platform for running virtual machines in the cloud. And why that might be applicable is if you need to have a very precise version that's very static or a very precise configuration. So perhaps you don't need rack and you don't need Exadata, and autonomous is too restrictive for you. Maybe that's a solution that could work. Anyway, my final thought
And
is
that only came with partnership in Oracle and Google, right? Because before that, it wasn't allowed, right?
that's right. So before that, it kind of wasn't supported or licensable. With the new partnership between Oracle and Google, that roadblock is gone, and that's a new option for
Yeah,
customers.
that's great.
And that's great news as well. And that extends a little bit further. You can run it on VMware or GKE, which is Kubernetes clusters as well. I'm not sure that there's as much desire for that. And of course, Google still does have a bare metal solution available. So my final thought is I thought it was great. I thought it was lots of excitement, lots of energy. Hallways were packed everywhere you went. I enjoyed the showroom. Like we said, it was called the Hub. I enjoyed seeing the Premier League trophy in real life. It was the real Premier League trophy. So that's my final thought as a side note, is that was really interesting and fun to see. And I can't wait for next year. To close things out, if you're considering moving Oracle database to Google Cloud, Pythian's really a partner that can help you do that. We have a lot of expertise in that area. And scan the QR code that you see on your screen to connect to us. We're always here to help with Oracle database management and migration to the cloud activities. So I hope everybody enjoyed this session. Thanks for attending and hope to talk to everyone soon.